Welcome to the FlipSide Podcast, episode 8. Got a special guest today, actually my cousin. Uh, we call him Mike, real name Mike Larkin. And we're going to come from the perspective today of someone who was incarcerated for a crime that they didn't commit. He maintained his innocence throughout his incarceration. And normally in Ohio, if you go to the parole board and try to maintain your innocence, they really just want somebody to apologize for the decisions that they may be in prison for. So we're gonna sit down and talk about Mike's story and try to find out what that felt like. So Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Okay. You anything you want to start off by telling the people?
Just thankful to be here to tell my story. There's a lot of stories out there, and many people don't believe that it's a lot of stories out there, but it is, you know. Um, but also there be things that lead up to other things. So, we're gonna get into that as well.
Okay. So um this podcast is global. You know what I mean? So people around here might have heard of you. So tell the people, where you from and a little bit about your upbringing.
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm from Lincoln Heights,
Absolutely.
zone 15 all day. Um, Growing up, I grew up with a father and stepfather, which I lost my father in 1993, but I come from a hardworking family. Um, Coming up, we weren't rich, but if there was a struggle, we never seen it because I had a hardworking mother and stepfather, that always provided. Um, Life was pretty easy for real, borderline spoiled, me and my two brothers, and everything was pretty good.
So it seemed like I remember did you wrestle in school or
I
was that
wrestled in school.
okay, you wrestled.
Things in my life was pretty good. I say things start falling apart the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm.
You know, um, I didn't have to do it, but I chose a different path, and as a result of that different path, it led to a lot of different things changing.
So what you think? What influenced you to want to go that route? Because I was having a conversation with Dwayne, and we talked about he was in sports, and at the time when the crack era kind of came about, and we had to. So what you think influenced you on going down that other path?
I say looking at the wrong things. You know, we grew up where we grew up, Lincoln Heights. A lot of street names, household names. A lot of them was athletes.
Mm.
And things of that nature. Honestly, some of them should have been in the league.
Mm.
But they chose the path they chose. Of course, they was much older than I was, and we watching them guys
Right.
and different things. We thinking, what they doing. That's what's it. You know, and as we, went through it, experience was the best teacher, and that wasn't it.
So I remember when I was young, and seeing you and we kind of look. I knew I could never make it to the NFL or the NBA. I was too small. So I seen the cars and the bikes, and I remember one time when we played football for Reading, and I don't know who all it was, but I know it was at least me, Quincy Orlando. And it's like a little Dairy Queen. It wasn't Dairy Queen, but it was some kind of little place.
Yeah.
And I remember like after practice, I don't know, you happened to be coming through there and you seeing us and you like bought us all ice cream. And I just remember like, dang, like, what I'm saying, looking at the cars and stuff. So I think that was part of, some of the things that influenced me to eventually want to, get out there. So like I said, you definitely had that name in our neighborhood where you was getting money. And then let's jump to what was it, 1994?
95.
It was 95?
When I got the case?
Yeah.
95, January 95.
Okay, because mine was in June, a couple months after yours. So we was damn back to back. So when you caught the case, um, what was that like? They picked you up for a murder, and you like, what's your vibe at that time?
I mean, it was like I can beat this. You know what I'm saying? I can beat this. And I knew I hadn't did nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because that wasn't me.
Right.
You know, I ain't never robbed nobody. I ain't never been in nobody's house, no B&Es. I ain't broken no cars, none of that.
Yeah.
And but my mind state was different. I can beat this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can beat this. And um, it was a tough task. And it was proven that I couldn't beat it. And it was, you know what I'm saying, it was more, it wasn't about no money. You know, it wasn't about it got to the point like it wasn't about no money. I feel like um, God saved me from me.
Mm.
You know, because a lot of people don't understand, especially the youth, there's a lot of hidden dangers with that. You know, and then back then, uh, it wasn't no major violence out our way. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't no too many like robbers and shootings. But at the same time, that's one of the hidden dangers. And a lot of times it's people you know, it's people you hanging with, it's people you breaking bread with, it's people you sitting down eating with, it's chicks you hanging out with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of hidden dangers that when your mind is somewhere else, you just so much caught up on getting money, you know, and you won't, and it's jacked up, but you want people to know that you're getting money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Real hustlers don't want nobody to know they getting money. But again, we looking at people that was before us. You know what I'm saying? It got to the point where, you know, a lot of things people just do out in the open. You see, you know what I'm saying? And you want everybody to know you got it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And but again, it's a lot of hidden dangers. And there's a lot of things in my life I took for granted. You know what I'm saying? And not paying attention. Well, I'll say this, not paying attention, but not being properly schooled and educated. Because a lot of us, we just got out there. We just
Yeah.
got out there on our own. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot that we just didn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Some people, they learn by experience. Some experience was good, some not so good. But I look at my situation, God saved me from me. You know, because some things that took place, close friends of mine's passed, different things was going on. And kind of when I look back at it, my life was slowly spiraling out of control. I was
Mm.
slowly going downhill. You know what I'm saying? Too many things going on. Not properly focusing on this or not focusing on that. Or if this happened, you just try a little harder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get away by a close call. You know what I'm saying? And not knowing somewhere in there you slipping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You slipping. You know, you and um, somewhere I slipped and fell. You know, so this murder took place. Uh, look up. You're on the news.
Mm.
You're on the news. You know, I always been kind of like a runner. You know, keep a flea in the loin. But this one here, I knew I hadn't did nothing. I hadn't did nothing, and I know I ain't killed nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? None had nothing to do with none of that. Cause that ain't, you know, that wasn't me. And
Exactly.
you know, that just wasn't my thing. You know, so make a few phone calls, call the police on myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which of course this happened in Lincoln Heights. So I went on to Cincinnati. I went on to the city.
Yep.
Called the police on myself. Um, they come, you know, doubtful for real. I mean, because who got an open warrant for aggravated murder gonna call the police, come pick me up?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But the same thing, at the same time, rather my safety. I'm looking at my safety. You know, don't want to be put in a bad situation to be hurt.
Exactly.
You know, and coming up, and running through the streets. We taunted the police. They was at us. You know what I'm saying? And so I built up a little reputation with them. So you got one or two that might want to, get some licks in.
Exactly.
But so again, like I said, I turned myself in, going on down. Process start. And it's a he say she say. You know, and you know the attorney I chose at the time, he was high profile. He had some other high profile cases going on, bigger than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And we thinking, hey, we're gonna carry the trial. It's a he say she say.
So off the rip, you like, I'm going to. It wasn't even a thought of a plea
It
bargain.
wasn't no thought, because I knew I hadn't killed nobody.
Exactly.
I know I ain't shot no gun. I know I ain't been around nobody shooting no gun.
Yeah.
None of that.
So
So
like,
I
how could I get found guilty for something I ain't had nothing to do with? If the justice system is correct, huh?
Yeah. So, and of course, like I said, and that's also where the experience come in at, because something like that, I ain't had no experience.
Right.
I'm thinking you fork this money over to this lawyer, he gonna do his thing, it's gonna be over with. A lot of times it ain't that easy. And unless you have been in it and sat on the hot seat in there, or know somebody very, very close to you that has went through it, you have no understanding of how that is.
Right.
It ain't as easy as TV make it look.
Exactly.
And so we go to trial May the 30th, 1995.
Jury trial.
No.
Bench trial.
We set up for a jury trial.
Okay.
So that morning, my attorney come and see me in the holding. He said, "Look, we're gonna go with a bench trial. Some things done changed. They ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
We've been waiting on them the last 4 or 5 months or whatever. They don't got nothing. Ain't no evidence. It's just our word against theirs." I think Tuesday looked like a good day for a bench trial. Looked like we got a winner. Go to bench trial. Start that Tuesday, run through it. Next day, close the arguments that morning, May 31st. Judge come back. I found you guilty of aggravated murder.
Wow. So looking back, do you feel like your lawyer did a good job? Or do you feel like it was some railroading in there?
I feel like he made some mistakes, and I can say he made some mistakes because he admitted he had made some mistakes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? No, like it's a lot of conversation and things of that nature held in chambers, held in sidebars, things of that nature. And like I said, I'm gonna say again, I say he made some mistakes because he admitted that he made some mistakes. So this ain't me just pointing the finger at him. He made some mistakes. But do I feel like we got duped a little bit too? For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Because they'll say we're gonna pick a jury, 12 people of your peers. I was 21 years old.
That wasn't gonna be your peers.
How you gonna find 21 people? 12 people of my peers, 21 years old.
Yeah.
African American, from a similar background, that's gonna sit in that box.
Exactly.
It ain't happening.
Right.
But again, that's where inexperience come in at. when we think we know it all. We think we got it figured out, and it's a lot of things with your demographics, where people come from. They ain't picking jurors out of Lincoln Heights, from down the way, Wooden Terrace, Evanston, Warner Hills. They ain't picking no juries, like they ain't picking jurors from there.
Right.
If they do, they 70, 80 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you got this old lady got her purse snatched when she was 30.
And she thinking about that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard sometimes, depending on this case, depending on the situation, to get a fair shake. You know, so like I said, May 31st, 95, judge found me guilty. Do PSI 2 weeks, pre-sentence investigation. 2 weeks later, come back, give me 23 to life.
So when I was locked up and I got I never thought of going to trial because everything I kind of been charged with, I had some participation in the crime. So me personally, I ain't never thought about going to trial. So when I was in, you know, CRC, I had a feeling of, I did earn this in some way. How did you feel being in CRC and it's like, man, I'm in here for something I ain't even do?
Well, before I even got to CRC, because I spent over a year. I spent 21 months in the county. So even after conviction, May 31st, 95, it was just a series of motions. We fighting. So there was a lot of fighting going on. You know, let's just say I would win this motion, I would lose this next three. Scrabble back and forth, get back in there again, win a motion, lose the next three. You know, to the point they're like, well, just let him go to, just let us sentence him. Well, they not sentence me, and just let us get him on the prison, let the appeal courts and them deal with it. But again, I can't say the attorney kept fighting, and he pulled in some more help. So to say he just severed ties with me and cut me loose and let me go, he did. He kept fighting, you know. His name was drugged through the mud too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so eventually we get a judge. I say probably September of '96. We get a judge that come. That they brought a visiting judge in from Columbus, and we had a motion going on, motion of a new trial, and we in there banging, and he ruled in our favor.
Because when you go to trial, you still got the appeals.
You got yes, you got the appeal process, but I hadn't even made it to prison yet to even start the regular appeal process.
Okay.
On a murder conviction.
Okay.
On the state level, you had a chance to we filed a motion for a new trial because it's either my attorney failed somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in his directions and things of that nature to me, or somewhere in there you got prosecutor misconduct. There's various different issues to be raised.
Right.
And this one in particular, it's ineffective assistance of counsel.
Oh, okay.
He already admitted that he made some mistakes, but he can't represent himself. So we had to bring in another attorney, and the other two attorneys, they fought for us. And this wasn't about no money. It was more so about saving my life. Why should I have to pay for my life, possibly my life, because of a mistake my trial attorney made?
Okay.
Based on some other circumstances. He just didn't wake up one morning and say, hey, we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
So he didn't, so Judge ruled in our favor. You know, and finally we felt like we gaining ground. We
So
just
was
took.
you was upstate already?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you wasn't
I was
upstate
still, I
yet?
was still in the county.
Okay.
We fighting from there,
Okay.
and so because the lawyers and them they filed different motions, uh, judge and them put a hold on me, so ain't no transferring, because I got these serious emotions going on, and it's just a dog fight back and forth, and judge, like I said, he ruled in my favor, and matter of fact, September of '95 is when they brought the visiting judge in. So again, he ruled in my favor. Of course, the prosecutor and them, they want to appeal it. As fate has it, and may the judge rest in heaven. He got killed in a car accident, December '95.
What?
So somewhere through all the shuffle of the courts, um, they appealed. They was able to win on appeal against the motion that he had ruled in my favor for me to be granted a new trial. But of course, he ain't here to defend his. He's not here to defend that. He
Yeah.
gone. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So now I'm stuck in the politics of the system. That was December '95. I didn't go back to court until September of '96, and we went in there, and this particular judge said he was tired of this case. This case has been dragging on for the longest. I sentence you 23 years of life, sitting in prison. I don't want to hear no more motions. I won't rule on nothing else. I won't entertain another defense motion.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
And
Listen,
go ahead.
if this is a lesson right here, this is a lesson to tell you. If you out there participating in wrongdoing, it's a chance you can be picked up for something maybe you didn't even do. We got a true story today on the podcast. Someone was incarcerated for something they didn't do. Pay attention, listen to what's going on. These are lessons. You can hear this and you may be able to prevent yourself from going through something similar. So you in CRC.
So I go October '96. I go to CRC. But as far as my mentality and mind state, I think that first year in the county, 21 going into 22 years old, I matured that quick. Reality hit like this serious. You know what I'm saying? Your life on the line, on this for real. And I mean, I really like couldn't believe that it was happening, that it had happened.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because you know, hustling, I could take my legs. If I had a leg coming, I could take it. You know what I'm saying? Because that was mine, and whatever came with it, I was willing to stand on my own 2 feet. So I take off, go to prison. You know, I'm in CRC October '96. Landed in Warren just before Christmas of '96. You know, now I'm okay, but I ain't okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm okay far as the physical. You know what I'm saying? But now I got to get out and be rumbling now, because I am in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I got the number and it's on. So I probably spent my first, I say beginning of '97 to June, July '97, just writing lawyers. I wrote 5 of them and had probably between 3 and 5 questions to each one of them. I asked them all the same question.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, whoever respond back with the right answer, that's the one I'm gonna try. Someone answered that call. It was a lady,
Christina?
Christine Jones.
Christine Jones.
Uh, man, I owe that lady world because it wasn't even about no money. Because I ain't had no money.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. One case will take you for everything you got.
Oh my goodness.
Will take you in there. I wasn't nothing but a hood name and a number.
Mm-hmm.
Then none of that. Mean nothing. Anything that happened in life before then, it didn't mean nothing. I feel like even though the murder wasn't mine, all that hustling, it was time to pay.
Mm.
And I feel like, it came, I just accepted reality for what it was. I felt like God felt like I owed him. It was time for me to pay. Did I feel deep down I would have spent the rest of my life in there? No, I did. But I did feel the system was gonna at least get 20 years out of it.
Damn, for real?
That's how I felt. And but again, every day as I was still fighting the case, I knew also I was paying for something. You know what I'm saying? I was paying for it. You know, I mean, a lot of prayer and asking God for, understanding of a lot of things. You asking him to open your eyes, but you got to be real with yourself.
Right.
I ain't guilty of physically going out here shooting and killing nobody, but I was guilty of some other stuff. Plenty of it.
So when you go to prison, and you still trying to, fight to prove your innocence, did you have a mentality like I gotta stay away from, certain stuff? Like how was you able to really come in there and like, keep your nose clean to where you didn't turn into a person that's like, well, even if he wasn't guilty of this, he's staying in the hole. So shit, we gon' you know what I mean?
It's an older friend of mine. And I'm gonna give him his props. I'm gonna give him his just due. Especially for those who uh, are from Lincoln Heights. Some of those that might even been in Warren Correctional with me. It was a guy named Donald Williams. Um, Donald, um, some people, like to use the term jailhouse lawyer, this and that. But Donald worked in the law library. He was very smart and intelligent. And going into the law library, I didn't know what I was looking at. I didn't know what I was looking at. Only
Right.
thing I knew was this case.
Exactly.
That's all I knew. But also, you got to be mindful who you talk to. You got to be
Great point.
mindful who you talk to because everybody want out. Everybody want out. You can't name one person in prison right now that don't want out. And the devil come in many shapes, forms, and fashions. So, you got to be careful who you're talking to. And sometimes they from where you from, you know, they've been in the midst of the things with you as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, Donald was older. There was just something about Donald, and Donald, the one helped me, prepare the little questionnaire for these particular lawyers.
Okay.
And one rule of advice he gave me, and then I never forgot it. He said, "You got a case to fight. You can't fight your case from the hole. You can't do nothing from the hole." But that meant stay out of stuff. Who you should be around and who you shouldn't.
Right.
Cause there's some cats in there that
Exactly.
and just because you in prison don't mean different things don't stop.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sitting there with 23 to life. I want out. So therefore I ain't got time for it. And I'm in the law library every day, learning to read law, learning to be able to interpret different things, different case laws, everything pertaining to me.
Yep.
I know the case the back of my hand. You know, I'm just looking for some help. Help come from Christine, and she went to work. As a result of it, in 1999, between like May and June, maybe between April and June of '99, we received a favorable decision from the Ohio Supreme Court. They ruled in my favor, granted me a new trial. So, once again, took a deep breath. I get a chance to start over. We're gonna hit the reset button on this. With everything that happened before then, didn't even count. So go through the series of being transferred back to the county in July '99. Went to court in August. Um, got an appeal bar.
We was writing each other back then.
Right.
We was writing each other.
Right.
And I remember when you was told me, like, you was going back to the county, and I'm like, wow, you know what I'm saying? It's like I was like, that was a weight lifted, off my shoulders, because we corresponded a lot. You know what I mean? So I remember reading newspaper articles back then, and I remember reading in the paper they said this was the weakest amount of evidence they ever seen in a murder trial. You know what I'm saying? So when you go back, tell us what that was like. Because did they try to give you time served?
They wanted to give me a manslaughter time served, but like I said, I'm out on appeal bond. I'm out on bond. Starting to feel a little freedom, but still I know at the end of the day, somewhere down the line, I got to go back and fight this again. So as time moved along a little bit, months at a time, lawyer called me in, say they want to offer you a manslaughter time served. So I sat down with my family, explain everything, to them. And one thing my mother taught me: right is right and wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not perfect by far. I haven't made all the right decisions, and things of that nature. And we sat down on it. And she said, nah. And I felt it too, because also I didn't want to put my name on something that wasn't mine.
That makes sense.
I'm out. I ain't going. If I sign on it, I ain't going back.
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
Right.
But I'm stuck. I can end this part for me right now. I can get this over with, regardless of what my family think, what they say, regardless of what anybody think or say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also in my other ear, you ain't did nothing either. Why sign on for a murder that you didn't do?
Right. Right.
Why? Just to close a case, just to close the books for the system, Then you got your naysayers in the streets, some for you, some against you, Even people that know that you didn't do nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and know it that ain't you. You know what I'm saying? And know this ain't mine. You got some that's with you, some that's against you. And when you take on a tall task like this, because it's a tough task,
yeah,
for sure. You start seeing things, you start seeing people, and that's a thing the youth need to understand. Some of the ones you call your partner, they ain't your partner.
Wow.
They ain't, like I said, this case showed me a lot. It's because, maturity kicked in, and a lot of things I thought with an open mind. it is what it is. You know, them people, them guys that you was cool with and that you ran with, some of them, you know, did none of them come to help me. Oh, you got to murder. I don't want to be involved in that, man. You
Wow,
know,
them type of
you
conversations.
know, they going the other way.
Yeah.
You know, they ain't gonna say it to your face like, "Hey, man, I don't want to have nothing to do with that," or they just go the other way, or uh, the conversations be short. You know, so I'm dealing with a lot. You know, and I'm like, I could end this, but not only did I not want to let myself down, I didn't want to let my people down. So I will say I had a strong support system in my family. My mother was a driving force.
Man.
You know, like I said, my father, he passed away in '93. But again, a lot of the stress, my stepfather, he took some of it too. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it was more than just me. It was more than just me. You know, and it was times that I didn't think I was gonna make it. So we come to the conclusion we can't do the trial.
And you thinking, ain't no way I'm gonna get found guilty a second time for something I know I ain't do.
New lawyer, new judge. You know, new lawyer, new judge. Same shit. They saying I did this, and what they got ain't matching it. We picked 12. Don't get me wrong. I'm not racist by no means. But I remember a lady told me, they gave you a hanging jury. Baby, they ain't gonna let you win. We boxed it up, rumbled, found guilty of a lesser offense, as they say. So it's a murder conviction. Sentence 18 to life. You know, shipped on back to prison, right where I came from. You know, right back to Warren Correctional. Start the process all over again. But this time I wasn't so fortunate. Lost in the Supreme Court, lost in the federal court, lost the motions for new trials, just lost.
So you still had a fight, even though you still had a fight.
You got series of you still got your court of appeals and your Supreme Court, your federal court. Federal court only hear 2% of the cases. So a lot of cases will never make it to their desk. They don't even want to see none of that. And I went through all of that. The man didn't make it to their desk. So, and like I said, that second conviction was in 2000. So I'm in there doing my time. You know, I still got fight in me, but I ain't got nothing besides what I got. You know what I'm saying? All this sitting in front of me. I can let a law student read it and don't none of it match me. You know what I'm saying? But I felt also like the system, they ain't gonna let me win. They ain't gonna let me win. But also, in the back of my mind, God still punishing you too. It ain't time.
So everything happened for a reason, right? Even if we say that. Now in hindsight, I'm 48. So you got to be a little over 50. Okay. So in hindsight, the way everything now played out, if you headed to do over it, when we talk about your two children, grandchildren, your mother, if you had to do all over again, would you have pleaded out to stay out of prison?
Just couldn't put my name on taking a person's life. I did.
That's principle. That's morals. Because some people would have been like, man, I signed up for that. I don't want to go back to prison. But you maintained your innocence and maintained your fight. And I remember when you came back, and we of course you sending me pictures and stuff when you out, and I'm happy, you know what I'm saying? And then when you came back, and I'm like, I'm reading stuff in the paper, and I'm like, dang, like this crazy, like how this happened to Mike again. So the whole time you were incarcerated, we end up being together. And if you're in prison, the parole board usually wants you to come in there and admit your fault. They want you to admit your guilt. And people throughout the years who go in there, I ain't raped that lady, I ain't do this, I ain't do that. They smack them across their head every time. You don't want to admit it. Okay, we're going to teach you a lesson. Bow, take them 5, take them 10, whatever it is. So you knowing this, you got an uphill battle to fight because you still not going to admit to something you didn't do for the sake of getting out, even through the parole board.
Correct.
So what was this struggle life for you, being in prison, missing which I know your kids came to visit you and things like that, but not being there, really being there as a father figure?
It hurt. It hurt. And also in knowing that, yes, it's going to be an uphill battle with the parole board, but I felt like this, I cross the road when I get to it.
Okay.
You still gotta make it. You still gotta make it to
it
that.
Ain't guaranteed, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I mean, and rest in peace for all those who just didn't make it out of there alive.
Yeah.
You still gotta make it. I seen people had done been in there longer than me. I done seen some of them just drop dead. Drop. Right in front of me, just fall out, heart attack, he gone. You know what I'm saying? And so I know I got a good, solid support team because my mama was a driving force like a locomotive.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give her her props. And a lot of things that, as far as my support system, she was driving force. She pulled it along. She kept it together. You know what I'm saying? And I just said, I'm gonna keep on being a father to my kids, and hopefully they paying attention to really what's going on, because they don't. My girl was 7 months old. My son wasn't even born when I caught this case. If in they minds that I ain't trying to be in there like him,
yeah,
and they doing everything they can not to be in there like him, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Cause ain't nothing slick and cool about this.
Right.
Nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then again, they young, so they really don't know the magnitude of what's sitting in front of them. This might be it. You could possibly be looking at him like this the rest of your life, or the rest of his. So I said, until I make it, to the parole board, that I'm gonna keep being a father. I'm gonna keep being an uncle. I'm gonna keep being a big brother. I'm gonna keep being a son. But also at the same time, I try to always keep a positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because any day in prison can be a bad day.
Yeah.
And we have to make the best of it. They ask you why you smile, why you laugh, why you joke. You know what I'm saying? Any day above ground is a good day. So, like I said, the second conviction was 2000. So I'm scheduled to go to the parole board for the first time in 2008. Back then, I was under the old law, which we had tails.
Yeah.
8 months, 14 days equal a year. But there's a catch to it.
Yep.
Okay, I did 14 years to the board. And so the lady, I'm still shooting my spiel, because soon I come in there, she asked me, said, from my understanding, you claiming innocence. Yes, ma'am. Is that still your stance? Yes, ma'am. So she said, well, in your case, uh, you have to, we have to have vote on you. This particular day, I just seen one person, the head lady at that time, the head chairperson. One person said, well, today, Michael, I'm not going to give you no time today. But my colleagues might want to give you some time. For number one, you don't have a minimum in. Mind you, you get, like I said, 8 months, 14 days equal to a year. Different little things, good behavior. They knock a couple of days off. Yeah, it's speedy up the time for you to get to the board. But boom, I get there.
They're gonna give you some more time.
They're gonna use some more time because, like I said, I got 14 years in on the 18 to life, and she said, well, you don't have the minimum in because the minimum is 18. Now, okay, couple, that was November. That was November 2008. February 2009, get a letter in the mail. They sent me 3 years, 10 months. So my people, they ask, my family ask, like, you good? I said, if y'all good, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't have a minimum in. I knew that going in the door.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all good, I'm good. We truck on. Keep it moving. Start the process over again. November 2012. Now I'm ready to rumble. Ain't no more court unless God sends some help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some
Unless
of
the
those,
real perpetrators come forward or something.
or unless some of those who I was cool with, who I felt that, could have helped me, but I can't be mad they chose not to, you know. But again, we go in there, they say, from my understanding, your claim is innocence. But now I got my stuff with me though. I done sat down on this now. And this is the only time that I got to tell my story. And you got to come correct.
So you mentioned something. Let me tell the people this, right? Some people may be thinking, I just recently seen on the news, and I don't remember the young man's name, but I think he was doing, I don't know, he might have been doing a year. It was something short. And he got into an altercation with the prison guards, and some kind of way he ended up, dead. So when people think, oh, I'm just about to go to jail and do this little time and I'm gonna work out and ain't gonna be nothing, everybody don't make it out of there. You cannot look forward to the future and just automatically assume you're gonna come home when you just like we all know tomorrow ain't promised to us. But it's a lot of people that don't make it out of there. Whether you might ain't heard this before, but I'm telling you the real. So don't just think, oh, this little time I'm gonna go knock this out. It ain't that simple. Well, man, I just wanted to thought about that. Oh, and let me touch on your mother. Your mother, because I done told y'all guys several times how my mother and father wasn't there. Your mother actually offered anybody in my family a free ride up there when we was locked up together when we was in London. And my sister used to take advantage of that. She came up there with your mom. And I was like, I used to call your mama sometime to make three-way calls for me. She used to tell me, like, she made my bit easy. And I look at your mother as a mother figure to me. You know the relationship that we got. You know what I'm saying? And I used to look at you and BG, my dude Rob out of Columbus. Each one of y'all mothers came to see y'all so much. And I used to be like, it seemed like I would be deserving of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why my mama don't come and see me like that? But each one of y'all mothers, Miss Londa, Rob mother, Miss Calloway, y'all they always told me your mother loved you. But since she can't be there like she would want to be there for you, God put me in your life. And all three of them women were supportive of me. So like when we talking about giving somebody their flowers, I witnessed it. I seen it with you. I seen it with Rob. I seen it with BG. And y'all mothers also embraced me as though I was a son. I definitely gotta get a shout out like Miss Barbara Jean, like I tell her I love her. We talk all the time, you know what I mean? But Yeah, man. It just, when I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, because, we corresponded the whole time throughout our bits. I
But
remember I got my 5 and an out date. You know what I mean? Because, you don't never go up there for that first time and it's like, we're going to just cut somebody loose. You know what I mean? So go ahead.
and so I went in there and there's a lot of guys I was okay with. A lot of people didn't even know why I was in jail. If you wasn't from from the hood, or you didn't know this person or that person, because there was just some I ain't even talk about. I mean, what is to talk about?
Right.
Why hold court in the street? It don't even count.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody in here in the same situation I'm in. They in the same boat as me. We in here, so why sit down and waste my time giving you my story? You know, it's a waste. I mean, something. Prison is just like being in the streets. It's full of gossip. It's full of rumors, and things of that nature. So, a lot of us that was under the old law, we going to the board, and they was like, and some of us we had murders and stuff, and it's like I was like, shit, I'm not taking out. And it's like, and then someone you wish to be behind my back. Yeah, he ain't, he won't, he's not gonna admit. He keep claiming innocent. He ain't getting out. This and that, but I was willing to. I'm willing to. Hey, I'm in here. So we're going. It's a panel of like 8 of them, and it's 5 of them this particular day, and so we went to work, you know, and some things she asked, I was honest with her, guilty of it, man. Yeah, yeah, you know. We got down to the murder.
Because they asked you about prior stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Stuff they already know the answer to. They want to see. They
Exactly.
want to see if you finna come here lying.
Yeah,
And I
right.
ain't got no reason to lie. I'm
Right.
already in here. I done been in here.
Yeah.
So and we started going to work. But everything I said, I had paperwork for it. At the end of it all, she told me everything that you want us to have, hand it to the man that's sitting next to you.
Yep.
And I took the whole folder I had and gave it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was November 2012. So they do everything almost in intervals of 60 days, between 60 and 90 days. Majority, you hear something 60 days. So February, March, we get a letter. I got the votes. I got the votes to get paid. So far, parole board has decided the majority that I was worthy of being granted parole. 30 days or so later, we get a letter from the county prosecutor's office appealing that decision. But not only mine, it wasn't just on me. It was some things some other guys did a couple years prior, and they changed a lot of their procedures, a lot of their guidelines. So, this was just part of the formality.
Yep.
But now it's time to call in some more help. So they offered me an attorney. I took him, and you allowed 3 people to speak. You're allowed to have 20 family members. Your whole team will be of 20, which family, attorneys, whatever you feel you need, or
Yep.
who you feel got to be in there. So I get it. I get it, guy. We're gonna have this. Hearing May 31st. May 31st. The significance of May 31st. That's when I got the first conviction in 1995. So here's a guy. He came to see me beginning of May. He got 30 days to prepare, and I told him I'm going in innocent, and if you can't represent me innocent, it's okay. This might not be for you,
Right.
but you got whatever come at the end of it. I can handle it.
Yeah.
As long as you Go in as I asked you. But in the meanwhile, when I get back to my area, I'm finna call some help. Eventually, I just need you to represent me as far as my institutional records, as far as my accomplishments, achievements, and things of that nature. Yes, I took victims awareness not because this was mine, but the things that I had involved myself in, there's no victimless crimes on the real. If we sit down here and look at it on the real, you know what I'm saying? You know, during the crack epidemic and crack era, we was down on our peoples.
Wow.
We was down on them. Look at my kids. They victims. I made them a victim for putting myself in a situation that I put myself in. Money couldn't buy no love. You know what I'm saying? It take more than money to raise these kids. There's plenty of people that we know had money or got money, didn't take care of their kids.
Man.
They didn't take care of their kids. Me just walking one of them kids to the bus stop. You know what I'm saying? Or standing at the bus stop when they get off the bus.
Yeah.
So there were some things I was still working on with myself. You know, I took all them classes. You know, these are life-changing things, tools, if you use them. If you use them. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, like I said, with the attorney, I just tell him, I just need you to represent me based on my institutional record. Christine still chugging along. She gonna handle that legal part. She gonna handle that. Just do your thing and let her speak on that because she know the case like I know it.
For sure.
At the end of it all, we had a hearing on May 31st, 2013. They told my mother, we feel that the system made a mistake.
Damn.
They dropped the ball. You'll never hear this outside of this room because we're not a court entity.
Right.
You'll never hear this, but we feel that the system made a mistake. And we've watched y'all fight with him because they in your business. So we've watched y'all fight with him and support him from the time he hit Department of Corrections to now. But we can't overturn his conviction. We can't do nothing about that.
Right.
Only thing we can do is grant him parole. He's going out as a parolee. And he still got 5 years on parole to do. If not, if he knows that if he's unsuccessful, he coming back.
Yeah.
He know that.
Yeah.
We've been all in this, they all in your business. And you know, and I mean, they know what they know. And again, that was 5 more years. I did, but I did it over here.
Yeah.
I did it over here.
Made it off paper.
Made it off. No incidents, no nothing. So what I'm saying is, you can turn some things around. You're able to turn some things around. You know, and is it always easy? No. Because I'm still stuck with the conviction. For right now.
I feel that.
For right now.
Yeah.
You know, because things within the systems is changing and moving. There's some people eyes open. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays it's more help. Look where we at right now. Somebody out there hear my story. Somebody know it. Somebody know of somebody else similar circumstances.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, there's still some people back there that I left behind that's got a story similar to mine.
Right.
You know, but
I seen you work OPI in there, right?
Yeah.
And how you maintained that job, you know, throughout the years and stuff like that, you know, that was, you know, it's some that can come in there and do that and not get involved with the, you know, the prison life. But then when you came home, I know you had got a job Now I'm gonna say you got a career. So it's and some people they refuse to work out here, but they're going there and sweep up the child hall floor. You know what I'm saying? But they won't come out here, and it's like a disgrace for them to work at McDonald's or Wendy's. But there, how you working at the prison child hall? You being here behind the line serving. So I'll be telling the guys sometimes some of y'all might be in the streets and y'all ain't even really making no money. You might as well get you a job. Y'all don't want to work for them. But if you get locked up, you gonna work up there. You know what I'm saying? So when I see somebody like you, because I came home and I went back down the path, like I use excuses or the stuff I know how to do. This company ain't gonna hire me, so boom, I went back to what I knew. So when I look at somebody like you, it's inspiration to me to be like, man, just because you came from the streets don't mean you got to go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I want to give you your flowers, man, because I'm somebody that look up to you for that. Like you left that life 100% alone. Now, I got something in my mind what I'm thinking, but I want to ask your opinion. Let's go all the way back to the 90s. If you didn't go to prison, because I feel like now I found my passion, my purpose, giving back to youth. I had to go through what I had to go through so I can now tell the youth my story and try to prevent them from doing the same thing. What do you feel like you was meant to do? If you didn't go to prison, if you woke up one day in the early 90s and quit hustling, what do you feel like you was put on this earth to do? What's a love of yours that you think you could have been successful at?
I can say anything I put my mind to.
Like that.
Anything I put my mind to, because I mean, I ain't saying I'm all this, all that, but I feel like God gifted me in a lot of areas.
Okay.
And I felt like, and I'm gonna touch on the OPI thing in prison. I was in there making prison clothes, men and women prison clothes. But you know why I took that job? That was part of my growing. That was part of my hitting that reset button on life. For the simple fact, if I spent a third of the time I spent doing good as I spent just trying to turn this play,
Yep.
if I spend a third of that time doing good, I can make it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because everybody out there that know the game, they know the hustle and bustle of it, and I'm talking about in the streets. You know how much energy and effort it take.
Right.
It take a whole bunch of energy and effort, a bunch, not to get robbed, not to get shot, not to get killed, not to get caught.
You're
And I
right.
can go right ahead, McDonald's. Can I get on the fries?
Yep.
The easiest
For
job,
sure.
easiest job in the building. But at the same time, I'm making the same money. I'm making the same amount of money as they make.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, I'm gonna file taxes. You know, I'm gonna start putting tools and fuels away for a 401k. You know, but again, anything that I set my mind to, I can do it. And I think one of my biggest things is my passion for life, my passion for people.
Mm.
You know, I don't mind helping, even when I know good and well the help ain't always appreciated. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people appreciate a helping hand here, and I'm not talking about monetary. I'm talking about you might need help moving something. You catch a flat, somebody call you, man, can you help me change this tire?
Right.
Things of that nature, you know, and so but I'm a people person. I'm a people person, you know. And when you done been in prison, you see thousands of people. You see a lot of people that sometimes it's just mentally and emotionally that ain't as gifted and blessed as you are. You know, just like how my mother be. You know what I'm saying? She'll feed a stranger.
Sure will.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, like, sometimes you be out and about and you see the struggles of the world. You know it. And sometimes it's just like, bro, can I buy you a coffee? And it's been times I done seen dudes standing in the middle of the street holding a sign, man, give me a couple dollars for a beer. I ain't even finna lie.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I don't know. What type of day he having. I don't know what he been through. Who am I to say he ain't deserving of that?
Wow.
Because there's been many times, many things I wasn't deserving of, and I was still blessed. I haven't always been the best.
Mm-hmm.
Because the streets turn you into a monster, man. If you let it, turn you to a monster. That stuff make you be. That's just. I'm just saying, this out there in the grit and grind in the midst of all of that, it make you become a person that you're really not. You know, we ain't. I mean, honestly, and I'm talking about me and you growing up. We ain't grew up in no. Uh, well, we fighting every day, fighting for survival, fighting
Right.
to eat.
Right.
You know, we ain't grew up like that. We don't know nothing about that for real.
Right.
Honestly, you know, we made some choices and some decisions we didn't even have to make.
True that.
We didn't have to make because our life wasn't like that. But as a result of it, here come the consequences, and that's what was mine. And so
That's a man value, man. I like that because it's like in that game, you know, said several times, even though you went to prison for that, you like it's some other things that I was doing, and this could have been, you know, repercussions behind that. Like this could have been my punishment from the man upstairs.
it's like this, man. I'm gonna take you over here. I'm finna sit you down. I'm gonna make you fight for it because that's just the fighter that you are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you fight about it. I'm gonna make you fight about coming back up out of here. But I'm gonna let you go in my own due time when I feel like you ready. When I feel like you ready. Because honestly, when I came home on appeal, I wasn't ready.
Mm.
I'm gonna just keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it all the way solid. I wasn't ready. And I'm gonna tell you why I wasn't ready. I did them 5 years, good and strong. You know what I'm saying? I got this, but I'm too busy worried about what the world think of me. That old, that old, that old persona that people always had associated me with. I wanted that same little clout back.
Mm.
Is everybody gonna still like me the same? Everybody gonna like me the same? You know what I'm saying? Because you know, like I know a lot of times people change things in their lives. People shy away from them, and you know you start feeling away. Like we used to be cool, and man, and he, but you ain't on what he on. You know what I'm saying? You don't went somewhere else.
Great
So
point.
therefore, being out on appeal, I'm out. You know, and I'm moving around a little bit. You know, and it's like I'm gonna deal with this case when I deal with it. But again, there were some things I just say I wasn't ready, and he seen that. Okay, I dropped you in on a test run for 5 years. I gave you a test run. Everything you said you weren't gonna do, you turned right back around and did it. So now guess what? Now you owe me. Now you owe me. Cause I ain't finished sit here and tell no lies. Like, you know, if we can get rid of this, I'm cool. He already knew my intentions. And they knew what he was going to chastise. The same stuff they used to convict me with, the same exact stuff, that's the same stuff that brought me right back out of there. What no difference.
Nothing new came out. Yeah.
Nothing new.
Right.
Nothing new. The same reports, the same this, the same that. But as I was going through it and dealing with it and studying my business, I started seeing some things that didn't make sense. I can hand you a stack of papers I can hand you the case, and you don't know what you reading. How you gonna explain it?
Exactly.
When I'm in there and I got my final, this it. This could be my final shot at parole. Now you got to go in there and know what you're talking about, and I'm able to show. I'm able to point out. I've been sitting on this. I've been sitting on this case since '95, and if I ain't ready in 2012, it's a problem, you know. But again, it all go to maturity and growth. It go to maturity and growth, you know. And then I have a son. I have nephews. I have a lot of friends. They had sons. They had nephews. We got grandsons. I want them to see this story because they don't know. Behind this smile, there's been a lot of tears and crying. Because I smile don't mean I don't hurt. I'm human. And I lost so much that people just say he lost. He had cars, he had motorcycles, he lost this, he lost. All that shit was ill gains. Ill gains. All that was ill gains. Now I can go somewhere. I can go to the car lot and tell them what I want.
Ain't no mystery.
I go to the bank. I'm looking at this house.
Yep.
And it feels great. It feels great, especially when I know I done went through what I went through. And the road wasn't easy coming home now.
Yeah, right. Temptations.
Not only that, but I took the shit jobs, as they would say. Yeah, I was out there,
Yeah,
$10 an hour.
Right. You had to grind up to where you at right
in
now.
the baking sun. I'm out there in the rain. We working construction.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I've been it, I've done it. And not only for me, but it's a lot of people in my life that when I lost, they lost too. They lost too. This just wasn't my loss. Look how you felt. Look how you felt. There's somebody else that was sitting next to you, they felt the same way. You know? Look at my mama. Look at my brothers.
It was bitten too, for real.
Look at my kids.
Yeah. It just ain't
Look at some of your brothers.
Yeah.
Look at your sisters.
It definitely affect more than the person just in prison. You're right.
Because it's somebody out there that like us and love us just for the person that we are.
Exactly.
Not for what you got.
Right.
In jail, what I have? Nothing. I'm working 25, 32 cents a day. And I'm cutting, designing clothes and sewing them and stitching them and cutting them and I'm making them. This what we wearing. I'm making the same stuff I'm wearing. Why I can't take that same drive and come out here and make it happen?
Exactly.
Because sometimes that $82 a month I made, I'm on my own, need nothing. I'm good.
That was good money in there because I was only making 18. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
You know, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good. So you mean tell me that little $10 hour job I had, that was gravy.
Ain't no mystery.
That was gravy. But then I start seeing my self-worth out here. I ain't gonna never say that the record didn't come into play here or there. It was coming.
Right.
It done hit me a couple times. Did it hurt and sting? It's a friendly reminder though. Don't forget where you came from. So if you get a chance to land something, make it count. Don't take the job for granted. Because once upon a time, you didn't even have this chance. Once upon a time, you didn't even have this mind state and grind for this.
Right.
You don't tell me who I ain't gonna work for. I know at the end of the week, that check gonna be signed. That check gonna be there. As long as I keep going, it's gonna keep coming. No, I ain't no CEO or nothing. It probably won't be, But don't get me wrong, I ain't gonna close my mind off to that either because I can do anything that I put my mind to.
We got the FlipSide Podcast. Make sure y'all like, share, comment. This is a powerful story, man. I heard a lot of different things. Accountability, just calling a spade a spade. I definitely appreciate you coming on and telling your story because I'm sure it's somebody out there that this can help. I'm positive of that. And I look at you like when you used to ride them bikes, man. And I'm just thinking you could have been on that track somewhere like a superstar. Like, you know what I mean? Because even back then, you was a beast on them bikes and you came home and still mess with them bikes. So I just wonder like if somebody be like, dang, like something like I say, if I feel like I could have became a lawyer or a doctor. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't go the street route, I feel like I at the amount where I could have went to, college and things like that. So but we definitely can't live in hindsight. And I love the fact that you moving with your best foot forward. And it sounds like you enjoying the life
For
that you
sure.
worked hard for that you got right now. You know what I mean? So is there anything you want to leave the people with?
First of all, I want to say thank you for taking the time out to hear my story. And if you have some people that's left behind and they fighting, continue to fight with them and fight for them and let them know at the end of the day, no matter how much time they do, it's still hope at the end of the road. It ain't never over till it's over. And just hope, that I got somebody's ear today. Hopefully I was able to put some on somebody's mind and just change somebody's mind state, or, you know, like I said again, I want to thank y'all for having me and thank, uh, allowing me to share my story, and like I said, everybody that was with me that's and continue to be with me, I thank them. I thank Almighty God, for even allowing me just to get up this morning to share my story.
Appreciate that. Hey, this was powerful. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all know the motto. Stay down till you come up. Peace. That was good, man.